Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to take a closer look at New Orleans Mask, #30.
It's a fascinating piece, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So
Well,
much going on.
just this explosion of images.
Yeah, masks and faces and objects.
All kind of crammed together.
It's like looking inside that one drawer everyone has.
Oh, yeah.
That junk drawer.
Right, where you just throw everything in.
Exactly. And the sources we have today suggest that all that visual chaos is intentional.
Oh, definitely.
Like it's trying to show us something.
I think it's meant to mirror our own mind.
Right. Like all those memories and attachments we hold on to.
All that mental baggage.
Yeah. And one source even connected the piece to this Zen Buddhist concept of emptiness.
Yeah.
Or
Shunyata.
Shunyata. Right. But I always struggled with that concept.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, like, true peace comes from having meaning in your life.
I see what you mean.
Having purpose, not from emptiness.
That's a great point.
So how does this artwork fit into that?
Well, emptiness in Zen isn't really about nothingness. Oh, okay.
It's more about recognizing that things aren't actually separate from each other.
So, like, instead of seeing all those objects in the artwork as isolated,
Right.
we should see how they're all connected.
Exactly.
That's interesting. So, like, even a painful memory from the past, it's not really isolated.
Right. It's connected to everything else.
To my actions now, to my relationships.
To the whole tapestry of your life.
Wow. Okay, so that changes things.
And thinking about that connection, how does that change how we approach decluttering?
Oh, that's a good question.
Not just physically, but mentally too.
Is it even about getting rid of things or just understanding how they're all related? It reminds me of that whole Marie Kondo thing,
Oh, yeah.
asking if something sparks joy.
But here it's not just about joy.
Right.
It's more about recognizing the connection between everything.
Every object, every thought, every memory.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going.
And speaking of connections, did you notice that central corridor in the artwork? Oh, yeah, it really draws your eye in.
The sources we have see that as a symbol of the journey we take.
To try to resolve all the chaos.
Yeah, both the inner and outer chaos.
But it's not like a straight path or anything.
No, it's winding and cluttered.
Almost like the corridor itself is a reflection of life,
Messy, unpredictable.
but eventually leading us somewhere.
Hopefully.
The sources also mentioned a connection to the I Ching.
Oh, interesting. Which hexagram?
Hexagram 18.
Work on what has been spoiled?
Yeah, but I was looking to the I Ching too.
Oh, really?
And I actually think it relates more to hexagram 20.
Contemplation.
Yeah. So maybe it's not about fixing the clutter.
Interesting.
Maybe it's more about observing it,
I like that.
sitting with it,
It's a subtle shift in perspective.
Instead of immediately trying to clean everything up,
Right.
maybe we need to just be with it for a while.
Contemplate what it means.
Exactly.
I think the artwork is asking us to go deeper than just cleaning our houses.
It's more about self-reflection.
Yeah, asking ourselves some tough questions.
Yeah.
Like, what are those masks I'm wearing?
Yeah.
What are the fragments I'm holding on to?
And how is all of that affecting my life?
Exactly.
That's a great point. So we've talked about the artwork itself and these connections to Zen and the I Ching, but how do we actually apply all this to our lives?
How do we step into that corridor, metaphorically?
That's a big question, and I think one of the sources might have a starting point for us.
Oh. Which one?
It mentioned this YouTube video called The Corridor of Faces.
Right? I saw that one.
And the video suggested journaling as a way to confront those inner masks and fragments.
Journaling. That's a great idea.
So maybe that's our first step.
Our way into the corridor.
Exactly. And we'll explore that more in the next part of our deep dive.
So, New Orleans Mask, #30, it's really making us think about those messy parts of ourselves.
Yeah, the parts we usually try to hide.
And it's not telling us to get rid of them.
Right. It's more about, like,
Looking at them with curiosity.
what can we learn from the mess?
Exactly. Like, one of the sources talked about this Japanese art form.
Oh, kintsugi.
Yeah, kintsugi.
I love that.
Where they repair broken pottery with gold.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It makes the cracks part of the beauty.
And that's like a metaphor for how we can approach our own broken experiences.
Instead of being ashamed of them,
Or trying to erase them.
we can use them to make ourselves even stronger.
I like that, finding the gold in our brokenness.
It's a powerful idea.
And it connects back to that whole emptiness thing.
Right. It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that those imperfections.
They're part of what makes us whole.
Exactly.
So New Orleans Mask, #30, it's not telling us to, like, throw everything away.
Or pretend our past didn't happen.
It's more about, like, Deciding what's important to us.
What deserves a place in our lives?
Yeah.
And what we might need to let go of.
But letting go, man,
That can be tough.
especially like old habits.
Beliefs.
Yeah, or even like parts of our identity that we've clung to for so long.
It's like we have to dismantle parts of ourselves.
It's
And,
scary.
and those scattered masks and faces in the artwork,
Yeah.
it's like they represent all the different roles we play.
All those different identities.
And it makes you wonder.
Which ones are real?
Yeah. Which ones are authentically us?
And which ones are just masks?
And it's not just the masks we show other people.
Right.
It's also the masks we hide behind even from ourselves.
Oh, I see what you mean.
All those fears and insecurities.
The things that hold us back.
Exactly.
You know, we've talked about that corridor as like a journey of confronting those masks.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the sources, they saw it differently.
Oh, how so?
It wasn't about moving forward. It
Interesting.
was more about just being still in the middle of the chaos.
Observing it without judgment.
Yeah, like a meditation almost.
That's fascinating.
So maybe it's not about trying to control the clutter.
Or force it into order.
Maybe it's about learning to be present with it.
Accepting it as part of who we are.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like the artwork itself.
It's not perfect.
It embraces those rough edges, those imperfections.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
Did you notice the colors in the artwork?
They're kind of muted.
Earthy tones.
Yeah. I think one of the sources said that represents grounding.
Like a reminder to stay connected to what's essential.
Even in the middle of all the chaos.
Exactly. It's not about escaping the clutter.
It's about finding our center.
Finding that inner peace.
Even when everything around us feels crazy,
The artwork is really challenging us.
it's not letting us off easy.
It's saying, this is reality.
This is life.
Don't be afraid of the mess.
Dive in.
Explore.
And you might be surprised by what you find.
It reminds me of that saying, the obstacle is the path,
Right. It's in those messy, uncomfortable moments.
where we often find the greatest opportunities for growth.
We've talked about the artwork, the philosophy, the practical tools.
We've looked at it from all angles.
Now it's time to get personal.
To turn inward.
Are you ready to step into that corridor? All right, so we're in that corridor now.
Yeah, that central corridor in New Orleans, Mass. #30.
Can you picture it?
All those earthy tones?
Yeah, and those fragmented
That
shapes.
feels kind of claustrophobic,
A little bit, yeah.
but also like there's this energy pulling you forward.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like something's drawing you deeper and
And as we walk,
we start to notice things.
all that clutter we talked about.
Yeah, like maybe it's those masks we wear,
The ones we put on for different situations.
like at work
The professional mask,
or when we're out with friends,
trying to be the life of the party.
or even that mask that says,
Everything's fine.
yeah, that was a classic.
But now that I'm really picturing it,
Yeah.
it's making me think about my own clutter too.
In a new way.
Yeah, like all those masks,
They're not just costumes we wear.
they're like parts of ourselves that we've built up.
And some of them are probably helpful.
Definitely.
They protect us.
But maybe some of them are also holding us back, preventing us from being truly authentic.
And I'm noticing other kinds of clutter down here too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
It's like all this stuff from the past.
Memories.
Yeah, memories, regrets.
Old hurts.
It's all swirling around.
Like it's caught in the dust motes.
I don't know if it's the artwork or what.
But being down here,
It's making it really obvious.
how much we carry around with us.
You know, there's that quote by Buddha
Oh, yeah, I love that.
about holding on to anger being like drinking poison.
And expecting the other person to die.
It's so true.
We think we're hurting them.
But we're only hurting ourselves.
And this artwork, it's like it's showing us all that.
All the ways we hold ourselves back.
With physical clutter.
Emotional baggage.
Everything.
So how do we let go of all this stuff?
Well, I think the key is,
Oh, yeah.
instead of trying to force it away,
Okay.
we have to approach it with curiosity.
Like instead of, how do I get rid of this?
We ask, what can I learn from this?
That's a good point.
Turning those fragments into objects of study.
Instead of being afraid of them,
We get to know them.
and maybe in that process,
We realize that some of them,
they don't serve us anymore,
and we can let them go.
with gratitude for what they taught us.
Exactly.
It's almost like we're curating our own inner museums
Choosing which artifacts to keep.
and which ones to let go of.
So we can create space for new experiences.
New possibility.
I think that's what this whole deep dive has been about.
Starting with this one artwork
And ending up on this journey.
of exploring our own inner landscapes.
Yeah, and along the way,
We found all these amazing ideas,
from Zen Buddhism,
the I Ching.
even the art of kintsugi.
But the main takeaway for me is It's not about getting rid of the chaos.
It's about finding the beauty within it.
And using that to transform ourselves.
Become more whole.
So embrace the mess.
Explore your own corridor.
And see what treasures you find.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.